welcome to AutoToday. My name is Dipayan and you're joining me to welcome the newest entrant in the C segment of SUVs. This is Maruti Suzuki's brand new Victoris. And the questions that we are asking today is, despite being on the Grand Vitara platform, sharing all the same powertrains, why this Victoris exists and why you should care as a customer. We'll start with the way it looks because that is the key differentiator. So let's hop straight into the design and I'll tell you what sets it apart from the Grand Vitara. Now, the first thing you have to know about the Victoris in terms of its design, and that is something that you will identify as soon as I say it, is that it isn't a Nexa network car. In fact, it is an Arena network car, and that's something that gives away right in the design, right from the front end. Now, I think the front end is a little reminiscent of the way the Brezza looks, but the Victoris looks slightly more distinguished with these slim headlamps with a DRL that runs on top. Of course, they aren't connected, but there is a chrome strip that gives you the sense that they are. You have a projector headlamp, a projector fog lamp inset into the bumper, and it's a conventional design, but it's clean and fresh, and I like the way it looks. Now step to the profile of the Victoris and you do get a sense of the Grand Vitara silhouette, except there are some very key differences. Some of them I like and some of them I really don't like. One of the things that I really don't like are those extremely squared out wheel arches that really don't fit the frame very well, although the 17-inch wheels look really good. But one does wish that they filled out the arches a little better, which would have happened if there were rounded arches. Of course, there are some lines in the metal. It can't really be called a shoulder line, although it runs from the fender through the center of the car right to the end to the C-pillar, which is the most distinguished part of the Victoris, and it's the part, as far as design goes, that I like the most because it doesn't really fit into any norm. It's not a coupe. In fact, to me, it gives me the sense and proportions of a station wagon, which really sets it apart and makes it distinguished and stand apart from the rest of the C segment. But now let's hop to the back and show you exactly what the Victoris looks like and why it looks so different from its sibling, the Grand Vitara. Now, so that really cool C-pillar means that you get these awesome angles at the back of the Victoris, and I think that is where most of the design character for the Victoris lies. You get these awesome sinews, you get this wraparound LED tail lamp, and I like the fact that it is segregated, so it gives you the sense that it is a sequential. I do love the badging, which is spaced out lettering, which adds a little bit of character. There is this second fold to the boot lid, which looks really cool. Now, another benefit of that really cool C-pillar means that you get a sizable 583-litre boot, but that's not it. It gets a power tailgate with gesture control, which means that all you have to do to open it is that, making it the only car in the Arena network to get a power tailgate with gesture control and power close as well.
I know I've been quiet for a minute, I've been grinding, still in it, I've been counting these digits, excuse me.
And now we're finally behind the wheel of the Maruti Suzuki Victoris, which, by the way, shares its platform with the Grand Vitara, which means that you get the myriad of powertrain options that the Vitara is currently on sale with. So before I jump into what I'm driving, let's list out the options that are available to you right off the bat. So straight up, you have the 1.5-litre K15C motor in two trims, which is a straight up two-wheel drive variant, which I'm driving right now, an all-wheel drive variant, and of course, there is a CNG based on the same motor, although the power output for that is slightly different. We will get to the outputs really quick, or I will leave all the outputs separately in a box on your screen so you can check it out at leisure. But you also get the Toyota Source hybrid system, and that means that, like the Grand Vitara, you can have the Victoris in a CNG trim, a two-wheel drive trim, an all-wheel drive trim, and a hybrid trim. Now, the hybrid trim is only available as an automatic. The all-wheel drive trim is available in both automatic and manual, as is the standard 1.5 litre. But I think, having spent a lot of time in the Grand Vitara, you'll be surprised at just how different this powertrain feels in this new platform. I mean, the platform is still the same. It's not a new platform, but in this body shell, just how different the Victoris feels is surprising. It feels a lot lighter, it feels a lot more peppy, and I don't really know how Maruti have been able to achieve this, but it does feel it right off the bat. And one has to tip their hat to this 6-speed 80 transmission, which of course is also available as a manual, but in this case the 6-speed 80, we had both an all-wheel drive and a 2-wheel drive on test, and even though we went through some really deep sand, the 80 gearbox neither heated up nor did it get stuck anywhere. We had traction throughout, and even through really soft deep sand, this car kept driving, and I think that is something that will really set it apart. The steering feels great, and there's plenty of feedback to the driver, and it's just very, very precisely weighed up, and that makes the driving experience in the Victoris really, really nice. But now that we are on the inside, it's worth talking about the interiors and just how much has changed from the Grand Vitara to the Victoris. Now, the hardware components have largely stayed the same. What has changed is the design philosophy largely in the Victoris. You get a different steering wheel, you get a different set of buttons, which are really cool. They are physical buttons with a toggle style up and down. You get a wireless charger, you get a small storage bin underneath that. What is instantly noticeable is just how much Maruti have worked around this setup to give you that really immersive and unique cabin experience. Another thing worth mentioning, of course, in the Victoris, and I don't know whether Maruti will agree to this or not, but the audio immersion and the quality of the audio from the infotainment system. Of course, the Victoris also debuts Dolby Atmos for your car, but it's the Infinity speakers that really give you this immersive cabin experience. Now, the upholstery is white, which again, you know, is a smart trick to make the cabin feel very, very spacious. Now, in the front row, yes, you feel like you are in a proper C-segment SUV, a proper Creta competitor like that. But it's once you step on the back that you start realizing that the headroom is slightly cramped, although there is plenty of legroom and plenty of shoulder room, because as you know, it is based on the same platform as the Grand Vitara, which means that you get the same width and of course that nice generous knee room. It is the roof line that slightly compromises the headroom in the back, but it's not a deal breaker per se. I would say if you're under 5'10", it will be more than comfortable for you, even on long drives. And that is exactly what sets apart the Victoris from the Grand Vitara. It's this immersive cabin experience that is so unique to the Victoris, and in a very, very neat way, uncomparable to what you'd have in a Vitara. This, I think, will appeal to a different kind of audience, where the Vitara's cabin and the way it's laid out will appeal to a different kind of audience. And that brings us back to the question that we had asked at the beginning of this review. Why does the Victoris exist? Because Maruti believe that there is a customer within the C segment who does not relate to the Grand Vitara and needs something younger, a little more hip, a little more stylish, and with a nicer cabin experience. And that is precisely where they've hit the nail on the head with the Victoris. And of course, there is the fact that the Victoris is an arena product, which puts it in 4,000 touch points across the country, as opposed to the 400 something touch points for a Nexa car that you would get with the Grand Vitara. So the Victoris will have a much wider appeal than its Nexa sibling, and that should give it an edge and the positioning to really make a dent on the Creta's chokehold in the C segment. That's it from me. This is Didi signing off.